Welcome to our live coverage of the quarterfinals for the Play for Lives Cup. I'm Jared and joined again by Timmy Gibson, my good mate. Jaden and Blake are unable to join the stream tonight due to other commitments, but they will be back tomorrow night for the semi-finals. Timmy, how's things after a relatively successful quarterfinals night one last night?
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good to see so many goals flying in. A few, I guess, unexpected results, but overall a pretty good night of FIFA.
Yeah, you said some unexpected results. What was your highlight of the night? What were some of your highlights?
Probably just in the second game of the Bulli Gerringong game, seeing all the boys. You're seeing two goalkeepers in midfield. That was a highlight of mine. Seeing some of the outrageous misses, red cards, it had everything that second game. So that was a good fixture.
Yeah, so Abbey Park City and Gerringong were very dominant last night, which was clearly obvious by the score lines after two legs. Who do you reckon will take out their semi tomorrow night, just based on last night, the performances last night? It was extreme attack against extreme defence.
Yeah, well, I think that what you saw, especially from Gerringong in the first game, was a really dominant performance. The kind of domination that's very hard to sort of deal with for an opposition. I think that if they can carry on that from the first game, I think the second game they sort of slacked off because it was essentially game over after the first leg. But I think if they're able to carry that over across two legs, there's no reason they can't beat Albion Park City. But I think one of the things with City that I like is that defensively they're quite solid, and that's sort of where they work their base from, as opposed to relying on their attacking. They can defend well for large periods of the game, which is something that I think Gerringong have to be wary of moving forward. So, I think it'll be interesting to see how that game shapes up, but I do think Gerringong should have enough to get over the line.
We have two fixtures tonight to round out the quarterfinals for the inaugural Play for Lives Cup, with Jamboree in our first two games taking on Berkeley. It'll be very interesting. Jamboree were the team with the most amount of points after the group stage, and Coniston, one of the form teams and most consistent teams of the competition, to take on Helensburgh, who shocked Jamboree a bit when they handed them their only loss of the competition so far. Both games will run over two legs, as said, and both teams will play a home and away game. Berkeley will be at home in the first 7 p.m. game, and Jamboree will be home in the 7:30 game. But in the second fixture, Coniston will be home in the 8 p.m. game, and Helensburgh will be home in the 8:30 game. So, Timmy, again, run the audience through what happens if the tie finishes as a draw on aggregate. What happens afterwards?
So if the tie ends in a draw on aggregate after the two legs, away goals will be counted to determine the winner. If the tie is still a draw on aggregate after away goals are counted and the second leg ends in a draw, extra time will be played and then a penalty shootout if needed. If the tie ends in a draw on aggregate after counting away goals and the second leg doesn't end in a draw, then a full match replay will occur immediately after the last game. The full match replay will have extra time and penalties if required. Of course, remembering that in FIFA 20, you cannot go into extra time if a game doesn't finish in a draw. So if the second leg doesn't finish in a draw, but is a tie on aggregate, then that's why we need a full match tiebreaker game.
Yeah, shame we can't control the system. Timmy, moving on to our first game of the night. How do our first two teams in Jamboree and Berkeley shape up going into this game? Jamboree, obviously, the form team, Group B.
Yeah, look, so Jamboree finished Group B at the top with 7 wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss. They scored 27 goals in the competition so far, which is the highest, and have conceded the joint least goals with just 6. And of course, that would make them having the highest goal difference with 21 in the competition. They finished the group stage with 22 points, just 1 point behind Albion Park City in Group A, who has the highest amounts of points of every team in the competition. As for Berkeley, they finished 4th in Group B, 5 wins, 1 draw, 3 losses. One of those, of course, coming against us. They scored 17 goals, which was the 8th highest, conceding 14. And they had a goal difference of +3, which is the lowest out of any team in this quarterfinal stage, finishing with just 16 points.
Now, Timmy, I'm surprised you haven't asked me yet, but do you like the shirt?
Look, man, I'll have to check on the. It's all right, it's all right. We'll. It's a bit hard to see due to the pixelated issues we have. It's
poor
red,
internet.
So,
poor internet.
We'll take that.
Yeah, we put it out there on our Instagram story about an hour ago. Now, it's which shirt should I wear? They pulled it down retro from Northern Ireland, or do I wear the Australian kit? And they're all full retro, which is good on them. Coming up next after the break, though, we have Jamboree and Berkeley, leg number 1.